Are you a guy who's feeling lost in these menswear streets and wants to build a timeless wardrobe that turns heads? If you're not in agreement, then I want to link with you for a complimentary Step Up Your Menswear Discovery Call. In this informative 20-minute session, I'll dissect your current fashion choices and identify where you might be missing out on opportunities to enhance your style game, all while staying true to classic menswear principles. Whether you're a professional, a businessman, or simply someone seeking to upgrade your style game, the Step Up Your Menswear Discovery Call is tailor-made for you. Book a slot on my calendar today by going to I'mNotAGentleman.com and click on the Work With Me tab. Peace.
I'm Not a Gentleman is a production of ChaseandRider.com.
And he was making the comparison of East Coast versus West Coast, and he was like, the thing about the dudes that are on the West, they don't really care about fashion like that. You know what I mean? Versus us on the East Coast, like New York and New Jersey especially, we really care about our fashion, man. We really care about how we dress.
Yo, what up, guys? Look at the drip today. The drip nuts. Gee whiz. Gee willikers, Batman. Is that drip?
To him, that was like one of the biggest differences between East Coast and West Coast was how we looked. Yo, what up? Welcome to I'm Not a Gentleman, the show designed to help you look stylish without following trends. I'm your host, Vladimir Riché from ChaseandRider.com and your favorite menswear YouTuber's favorite menswear YouTuber. I've helped dozens of clients and hundreds of students and viewers feel more confident by looking their best and always making a great first impression. Have you ever wondered what shoe colors you should get and what suit to pair them with? It's funny, man, because I've been doing this menswear thing for a while now, and I've been infatuated with shoes, I'd say for about a solid 10 years plus. And it wasn't until very recently, and by very recently, I'm talking about within the past couple months, that I finally gotten me some shoes that are outside of your basic colors. And by basic colors, I'm talking about black, shades of brown, burgundy, those type of colors. Recently, I've gotten a pair of gray shoes, and I've also gotten a pair of green shoes. And what took me so long is because I wanted to establish my regular collection first before I start dabbling into those type of colors. And having around 40 pairs of shoes now, I think that it's time to really start looking at colors outside of the regular colors that I just mentioned. But if you're somebody that's just starting out, I really wouldn't recommend that you start looking at those type of colors until you have an established collection. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this episode. So I will tell you the top 5 shoe colors that every man should have, and also what suit colors will go best with those shoes. And then once you establish a really vast collection, then we can start talking about other colors that you should be looking into. Check out my Patreon at I'mNotAGentleman.com/support for behind-the-scenes footage, early access to episodes, and bonus content. Intro.
Back in that bag again. Whoa.
Now, before we get to the top 5 shoe colors that every man should have in their collection, I want to bring up a shoe color that I feel is overrated, and that's light brown. Now, as far as the color, there's nothing wrong with it as far as how it looks. The problem with light brown is that it's not versatile. There aren't that many suit colors that you can wear with light brown shoes, at least if you want to look stylish. And I know it's kind of controversial because a lot of guys love to wear navy suits with light brown shoes, which is something that doesn't look good to the eyes due to the jarring contrast that it creates between the dark color and the light color. Now, you can wear dark colors with light colors, but it has to be the opposite. And what I mean is the shoes can be dark while the suit is light. So your shoes are what grounds you. They're your anchor. So if those are darker than the suit or the trousers, that's fine. But the other way around does not work. at least to me, and most stylish guys that I know. So light brown shoes, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have it, but I don't feel like it's necessary. Out of my 40 pair of shoes, I only have one pair of light brown shoes. I feel like that's more than enough because I don't get to wear it very often. The only time that I wear light brown shoes is if I'm wearing a light gray suit. So that's why I wouldn't recommend light brown shoes as part of your first 5 shoe colors. They are much better options, which is what we're going to talk about now. And I know that other guys are not going to agree because if you go to a wedding, you're going to see that most guys are going to be wearing navy suits. And if you look down, you're going to notice that most guys are wearing light brown shoes. It's never a good look. It brings too much attention to itself. But hey, man, it is what it is. I'm here to help you guys look stylish. I'm not really here for a ton of guys to agree with everything that I'm saying. And I know they may not agree at first, but hopefully eventually they'll be like, you know what? Vlad was right. And usually everything that I talk about, I'm speaking from experience. So I was the guy that was wearing navy suits with light brown shoes. Like when my son Chase got baptized, back in 2012, I was the guy that was wearing a navy suit with light brown shoes. I cringe when I look at those pictures, but they're necessary. Because when I'm talking to a client and they mention light brown shoes with a dark suit to me, I can speak to them from a point that I was once in your shoes. No pun intended. So without further ado, let's get to shoe color number 1. And that's a black shoe. I know this one may sound obvious, but at the same time, I know a lot of guys that do not own a pair of black shoes. And it's crazy to me because black is essential. There are certain occasions that only call for black shoes. For example, if you go to somebody's wedding, you should be wearing black shoes. Unless, of course, it's a beach wedding where the dress code is more casual. But a wedding, a really big business meeting, a job interview, God forbid a funeral, you should be wearing black shoes. The problem is a lot of guys think that black shoes are boring. What they don't realize is when it comes to being stylish, it's all about simplicity. And I'm not saying that you should be like Kirby Allison and have like 50 pairs of black shoes. Personally, I have 4 pairs of black shoes. I have 2 plain Capital Oxfords. I have a pair of black suede punch Capital Oxford. And I also have a grain pair of split toe derbies. So those are the 4 pairs of black shoes that I have. But I think that every man should have at least 1 pair of black shoes, and it should be a plain Capital Oxford or maybe a whole cut. Because like I was saying, certain occasions only call for that color. Also, is the most versatile color. For example, if you're into black suits, personally, I'm not really into black suits. Like right now, I don't own a black suit because I don't find black suits to be very versatile. Anyway, that's another topic for another time. But if you are into black suits, you can only wear a black suit with black shoes. This is not an opinion. It's a fact. And the next one is more of my style and an opinion. But whenever I'm wearing a dark brown suit, I only wear those with black shoes. That's what makes black shoes versatile because they go with every single suit color that you can throw at it. Now, I'm not saying that it's always the best choice for every suit color, but it does go with every suit color. Now, what suit color goes best with black shoes? I would have to say dark brown. Even though black does go with everything, but I think dark brown and black is a really good combination. So black would be color number 1. Now, the second shoe color that every man should have is a pair of dark brown shoes. Dark brown shoes come right after black when it comes to formality, although it can't be worn to every single occasion like black can. Now, if you're not going to a wedding or something extremely serious, but you still have to dress up, dark brown shoes is always a good option. It's not going to bring too much attention to itself, but it's still going to stand out enough, assuming that you're wearing nice shoes. But the color itself is not going to be like a, hey, look at me kind of color. You know what I'm saying? It's just there to do a job, and it does the job very well. Similar to black, dark brown is extremely versatile. The two colors I wouldn't wear dark brown with is a black suit, because like I was saying, you can only wear a black suit with black shoes. And two would be a dark brown suit. Although I've seen a lot of guys do it, you know what I'm saying? Just that me personally, I don't like that monochrome look where you're wearing the same color suit as your shoes. That never really appealed to me. But besides that, you can pretty much wear dark brown with all the rest of the colors. And I'm not even saying that you can't wear it with brown. I'm saying that I wouldn't wear it with dark brown, but you can definitely wear it with lighter brown shades. Dark brown shoes I highly recommend. It's probably the most popular color when it comes to shoes among stylish men, I would say. I could be wrong, but I feel like dark brown is very, very popular. And every man should have a pair of dark brown shoes or a few pair of dark brown shoes in their closets. Personally, I have a whole bunch. I can't really think of the top of my head right now exactly how many. Between regular dark brown suede, dark brown grain, dark brown museum. I have a lot of dark brown shoes, man. And that's a color that you can have multiple different pairs of shoes in. Can never go wrong with dark brown. Now, what's the best suit color that goes with dark brown shoes? I would have to say navy. Navy and dark brown is an awesome combination. A lot of shoe colors do go with navy, but I think that the marriage of navy and dark brown is awesome. So that would be my pick for the best color to wear with dark brown shoes. Now, the third color is probably a little bit controversial because a lot of men shy away from it, especially men that are just starting out, and that's burgundy. But I really feel like burgundy should be part of your starting five, man. Now, one thing about burgundy, it will stand out, but it's not standing out because of the contrast. Like I was saying, light brown really stand out when you wear it with dark colors because of the contrast from the dark trousers to the light brown shoe. But burgundy just stands out because it's a different kind of color. I don't feel like men should shy away from it. I think that you should really give it a chance and wear it with confidence. Personally, I don't like to stand out too much when I get dressed, but burgundy is going to stand out in the right way. Like, people will notice that it's different than what most men wear, but not in a peacock way, if you will, in a stylish way. Now, because burgundy does stand out, I wouldn't recommend it if you're going to something where you don't want a lot of attention on yourself, if you're just trying to fit in. But, if it's a Thursday, the weekend is coming up, and you want to let your hair down a little bit, I think that burgundy is great for that. And the best suit color to wear with burgundy, in my opinion, is charcoal gray. Even though burgundy does go with, let's say, medium gray or light gray or even navy. But I feel like charcoal gray and burgundy is a match made in sartorial heaven. Almost all the time, if I'm wearing a charcoal suit, I'm wearing burgundy shoes. And charcoal suits is the color that I have the most out of all my suits, I believe. And I have a few pair of burgundy shoes because I love wearing burgundy with charcoal. So I think I have around 6 or 7 pairs of burgundy shoes, if I'm not mistaken. I should have took a tally before I recorded this podcast, so I apologize, but it's something like that, you know what I mean? So I do have a lot of burgundy shoes, from burgundy museum, burgundy grain, regular leather. But yeah, burgundy is a really dope color that guys shouldn't be afraid to wear. You should really embrace burgundy and wear it with confidence. Now, the fourth color that I recommend that every man should own is ox blood. Now, if you're not familiar with ox blood, it's a mix of dark brown, burgundy, and black. That's the best way that I can really describe it. So, ox blood is a color indoors that's going to look very dark, but if you're in the sun, then that's when you'll see that it actually does have some shades of burgundy in it. And it's different from a museum calf. So when you're talking about museum calf, you're talking about a leather that has a couple of different colors. So there's patches of darker and lighter spots. So it's two different shades of, let's say, if you're wearing a brown museum, it's two different shades of brown, right? It's like lighter brown and a darker brown. And if you're in the sun, you can really see both colors. But ox blood is different. It's just one color, but it has different characteristics within that one color. And when you're outdoors, that's when it really, really shines. So ox blood is a color that's probably one of the most versatile shoe colors that you can get. It's not as flashy as burgundy, but not as conservative as, let's say, dark brown. So it's a fun way to show your personality while still looking stylish. One negative about ox blood, out of all the colors that I just mentioned, is probably the hardest one to find. Unless you're getting a shoe custom made. Most shoe brands don't really carry ox blood in their inventory for some reason. And I'm still racking my brains trying to find out why that is, because it's such a dope color. But yeah, ox blood, man, is something that I would highly, highly recommend. Now, what's the best suit color to wear with ox blood? It is so versatile that I can't even really pick a color because it goes with everything. Out of all the suit colors that I have, I wear it with everything except for dark brown. Ox blood, man, very underrated color, but should definitely be in every man's top 5. And last but not least, in the top 5 shoe colors that every man should have, I have to go with medium brown. Medium brown is a really nice color, man. And the fact that it's not too dark, it really brings out the character of the shoes. Because a lot of times, when you're talking about darker colors, sometimes the design of the shoe itself doesn't really shine that much. Versus if a shoe is kind of light, you can really see more of the details. So medium brown is a nice color to have, albeit probably the least versatile color out of the ones that I mentioned. And that's because you can't wear it with darker colors. So I wouldn't wear medium brown with navy, and I wouldn't wear medium brown with charcoal. Because to me, similar to light brown, it's too light for those colors. I remember I went to a Christmas party one year and I had recently gotten a pair of medium brown shoes. And I wore them to the party and I was wearing a navy suit. And I was uncomfortable the whole party, man. Because every time I would look down at my feet, I felt like the shoes were standing out too much. Now, it might have been all in my head. I think I have pictures still from that party if I can find them. Or post them in the blog post that's going to come with this episode. So check out my website, imnotagentleman.com. When this episode comes out, you should be able to see the blog post. And also in that blog post, I will include pictures of all the shoe colors that I'm talking about in this episode. But every time I looked down, I was like, damn, why didn't I wear dark brown shoes? So, yeah, man, it's not the most versatile, but the best color suit to wear with medium brown shoes is medium gray. For example, a medium gray Prince or Wales suit, to me, is one of the best combinations that you can have with medium brown shoes. There's just something about a gray Prince or Wales fabric that just goes really, really well with medium brown shoes. And another color that can go really well with a pair of medium brown shoes would be a really, really light brown suit. So this is the part of the podcast that I like to call I Got a Story to Tell. And sometimes it'll have something to do with menswear, sometimes it won't. This one doesn't really have anything to do with menswear, but it's related somehow, you know? So I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I used to rap back in the days. And the group that I was in, it was 4 of us called Skills University. And we were all from New York, but we were assigned to a production deal out in New Jersey. So we used to record in the Burger basement in East Orange, New Jersey. East Orange stand up. We signed a deal around 96, and we were with them till probably 99, 2000, or close to that. Anyway, we were in the studio one day, and we were starving. So somebody's like, let's go to the Popeye's Chicken right around the corner. So we walked to Popeye's, and I don't know how the conversation started, but we must have been talking about music, because that's all we did back then was talk about music. Or maybe somebody was freestyling. I don't remember exactly what it was. And there was a dude there. He was older than us. Probably was in his mid to late 30s. And back then, I was in my early 20s. And he was making the comparison of East Coast versus West Coast, you know? And he was like, the thing about the dudes that are on the West, they don't really care about fashion like that. You know what I mean? Versus us on the East Coast, like New York and New Jersey especially, we really care about our fashion, man. We really care about how we dress.
Yo, what up, guys? Look at the drip today. The drip nuts. Gee whiz. Gee willikers, Batman. Is that drip?
To him, that was like one of the biggest differences between East Coast and West Coast was how we looked. So after talking all that fashion talk, it was his turn to order his food. And my man Legacy looked at him and whispered to me, what's up with his fashion? And that was his way of telling me, like, dude, he's talking all that mess and he's really not doing it right now. You know what I mean? So what's up with his fashion, man? And it's funny because Legacy's still one of my best friends, man. And to this day, being that we're into menswear now, if we see somebody that's not doing it, we still drop that to each other, man. Like, yo, what's up with his fashion? And that's how that originated. That was in the Popeye's Chicken in East Orange, New Jersey, man, back in 96, 97. And we still drop to this day, what's up with his fashion, man. So I just wanted to bring you guys in to this little inside joke that me and Legacy share. What's up with his fashion? So this is the segment of the podcast where I take your questions. If you want to be part of it, all you have to do is go to I'mNotAGentleman.com. You'll see a microphone on the bottom right corner. You just click on that, and then you can leave your questions. Just tell me your name and where you're from so you can be featured on a future episode. So the first 2 questions come from Leo. Let's hear the first one.
Hey, my name is Leo. I have 2 questions. One about the Black Cap to Oxfords. I know about Earn Shoemaker and BW Shoemakers, that they provide samples for YouTubers and influencers and promote their products, which are fine. But I'm on a budget, so I'm really looking to pick a winner. And I think the most important thing for me is the shape, the last. I picked a few from Macariello, which are the B last, the B2 last, and the round last, that for me are most suitable for this type of shoe. I would be happy to get maybe more options. or a nice recommendation about it?
So what I would recommend to Leo, couple different options. The number one option would be from Oct 10th, and the style is the OT13, which is a plain cap to Oxford. And the reason why I'm selecting them is because they have a last called the High, HAI, which is like a chiseled last, but it is a round last. So it has a chiseled shape in the body, and the toe is a round last. So it's a very sleek last. And I can definitely vouch for Oct 10th. I got a couple pair of their shoes, and they really do a good job. The second one that I would recommend is very similar to Oct 10th, which is Yeosal. Yeosal is one of my favorite shoemakers, and they also have a plain cap to Oxford, which is the Whitley. And they also have a pretty sleek last called the DR70. It's the round version of the chiseled last, which is the SG65. So it's just like the SG65. The only difference is it has a round toe as opposed to a square toe. A third option would also be the one that you mentioned, which is Blazing Wonders. The thing about Blazing Wonders, though, they don't have a website. And also, their shoes don't really have a name. So it's best to contact them through Instagram. But as far as a last, I'm sure that they can find a last that you would be satisfied with, because they have so many different lasts to choose from. Because Blazing Wonders is a shoe factory, so they have unlimited amount of last. And they are very responsive on Instagram, so I would recommend that you reach out to them through there. You can tell them that I sent you. And just tell them exactly what it is that you're looking for, and they'll be able to send you pictures of the shoes. They'll be able to send you pictures of the last so that you can know exactly which one to pick. So those are the three that I would recommend: Oct 10th, Yeosal, and Blazing Wonders. Now let's hear the second question.
The second question is about Spear McKay. I know that they offer good value for most items, but still, if you look at luxury brands, menswear, high-end, like Stefano Ricci, Keaton, Isaiah, Zili, could you please recommend the most luxurious Mills cloths that they offer? It's a bit confusing and overwhelming for beginners to pick a fabric for a custom-made item. Thank you and all the best.
Now, I do understand what you mean. As far as all the names that you mentioned, those are definitely high-end brands. But the thing is, most of these brands, they don't make their own fabrics. So they still have to get the fabric from a mill. And the good thing with Spear and McKay, even though they're a lesser-known brand, they still get their fabrics from the same mills that all those really known brands get their fabrics from. The difference is when you're dealing with some of those high-end brands, there's going to be more handwork involved. But as far as the fabric itself, fabric should be the same. So the mills that I would recommend from Spear and McKay, it really depends on what kind of material that you're looking for. If you're looking for winter materials, definitely look at Marling and Evans and Fox Brothers. Fox Brothers is an English mill, and their name is synonymous with flannel. So they make some of the best flannels around. And like I was saying, Marling and Evans is definitely a nice mill as well. And another fabric brand is Hardy Menace. They make all sorts of fabrics, anything from fresco up to flannel. So once again, Marling and Evans, Fox Brothers, and HMS Menace would be my three picks. And the next question comes from Fuad out of Stockholm. Let's hear it.
Hi Vlad, my name is Fuad, reaching out to you from the capital of Sweden, Stockholm. I've been listening to your podcast and following a while on Instagram and really enjoy your work. My question is that I'm like 5'7" with a bit of gut, and wearing higher waist trousers does make me slimmer. But the problem is that wearing a belt with this type of trousers doesn't look good on me because it's kind of hugs too tight on my gut and makes the pant look wavy. And I also know you don't recommend wearing a belt, so I don't do that. But the thing is that instead of a belt, I wear button suspenders, which works really well. And sometimes I don't really feel like wearing a jacket, but still want to continue wearing high-raised trousers. And when I do that, my suspenders are always exposed, since I don't wear a jacket, and I kind of wonder if that's wrong or weird in classic men's style. Hope you can take the time needed to answer, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
That's a really good question. Personally, I'm not a fan of walking around in just suspenders. I feel like they call too much attention to themselves. So I would never leave the house without my jacket while wearing suspenders. What I would recommend is wearing a cardigan or a sweater. I feel like that's the best of both worlds, where you can still wear your high-rise trousers without having to wear your jacket, but you have something that's covering up the suspenders. In my experience, even though I really like side tabs, I like the way they look, but that's pretty much where it ends. They're really there for aesthetic reasons. They don't really hold my pants up at all. So side tabs are kind of useless when it comes to being functional, at least in my case. You know what I'm saying? It's probably because I have a little bit of a belly, and it's probably also because I usually have to have my trousers to be a little bit bigger, because since I wear suspenders, they don't have to fit me perfectly like if I was wearing a belt. So I usually have the waist of my trousers be a little bit bigger. But even before I started doing that, side tabs never really worked for me. So I would definitely recommend something like a cardigan that you can wear over your shirt. That way you can still wear your high-rise trousers, but at the same time hiding your suspenders so they're not showing. Because just, personally, I'm not a fan of that. Unless you're going for the Larry King look. I don't know if you're familiar with Larry King in Sweden, but if you're not, you can Google him. He's a name that people always associate with suspenders because he used to always wear one. But yeah, I hope I was able to answer your question. And thanks for your kind words and for listening to the podcast. Now, those are the top 5 shoe colors that I think that every man should have when they're starting out. And just to recap, the first color is black. Black is essential because certain occasions only call for black, so every man should have black shoes. Although I know a lot of men don't really like them, but you have to have them. The second one is dark brown, and that's your second most formal shoe after black. The third one is burgundy. That one is going to stand out a little bit more than everything else, but in a good way. So you should definitely embrace burgundy. It goes really, really well with a color like charcoal. The fourth one is ox blood. Ox blood is like the more mature brother of burgundy. So it's not going to stand out as much, but when you're outside, people will see that it's not dark brown, definitely has some shades of burgundy in it. It's a really beautiful color and a very versatile color. And then last but not least, medium brown. Medium brown shoes go really well with medium gray suits. For example, Prince of Wales suit. Thanks for checking out I'm Not a Gentleman. If you like this episode, follow the podcast, give your boy a 5-star rating, and leave me a review. You can find us on I'mNotAGentleman.com or wherever you listen. Check out my Patreon at I'mNotAGentleman.com/support for behind-the-scenes footage, early access to episodes, and bonus content. And tune in again next week for another fire episode of I'm Not a Gentleman. Peace.
Back in that bag again. Whoa, yeah. Hey. Back in that, yeah. Tell them to watch it.